conversation, we'll be taking a look at 50 years after the assassination of this man and that very short administration and what it brought to governance here in Nigeria. We do have a friend in the house this morning, and together we'll be taking a look at this conversation. We have joining us a public affairs analyst, Mr. Samuel Mare. Thank you for being on the program today.
Thank you very much.
Is it safe to say Happy Valentine's Day? Or
well, maybe we
in
should
advance?
In advance.
you also got a gift.
I got a gift. I was accosted. I was like, I should sing. I said, wow. For the song, it is well. Then for the gift, I can take.
Were you asked to spell any word?
No.
It was just a love song.
Yeah, I said I should sing.
And you couldn't think of any love song. It is well was what you said.
Yes, because for whatever thing that we're going to do this period, either today we are celebrating 50th of the 50th edition of Muhammed, or where it is Valentine's Day in the air, love in the air, everything it is well.
Well, that's a message, really. It is well with our souls.
Yes. Yes.
All right, coming back to the conversation this morning. Sometimes, again, when you curate years, it feels like it's such a long time, 50 years, and we're still remembering one man, of course, who was assassinated in Nigeria, here in Lagos.
Yes.
If you look down 50 years after the death of this man, and we can still sit and talk about some of the things that he did at that particular point in time. For you, how old were you then?
I was 15.
15?
Yes.
Okay, at least you were older than I did. In case I was 3.
I was 3 years old.
I was 15.
So, with 50 years on, how would you describe the leadership style of this man? Of course, you called him Ramat.
Yeah,
That's his middle name.
Yes.
Of course, Murtala Ramat Muhammed. 50 years.
After.
Looking at his leadership style, which of course, till date, a lot of people still reverence, still make reference to. But in your own opinion, looking back at what you've read about this man, how would you describe the leadership style, especially taking a look at the state of Nigeria at that time? Because, I mean, 50 years is not a joke. So if you look at what happened then and maybe what is happening now, we might not be able to compare and contrast totally. But at that particular point in time, how would you describe his leadership style?
Thank you very much. His leadership style is such that then it was not there was no market for it. At that time, his leadership style that he wanted to introduce, there was no market for it then. Okay,
people rejected his kind of...
People didn't actually reject, but they didn't welcome him. They felt that it was to me, there are three things that worked against Murtala then. He came ahead of his time. A very
long time. He was a young officer.
It was not because he was a young officer, but he saw situations that were supposed to happen in Nigeria in 50 years after, at that time, and he was already addressing it. Okay. And what was it that he did? He did three things. Number one, he read the right literature in leadership. He applied the right solution in leadership. And he brought out the principles of leadership that it is about to serve, not to be served. And the people, his immediate constituents, didn't accept it. They didn't see him that way. And it came at a time when Nigeria had an ample supply of money.
Right.
We are coming from the period when somebody said the Nigerian problem is not money, it is how to spend. Therefore, that mentality was there. But he was already addressing a situation where suppose we have scarcity, what were the things that we need to put in place? Right. He was already trying to put some things in place to say that let us address what is coming, not what we have.
At the moment.
At the moment we are enjoying, but there might be a time this type of boom may not be there. Right. If it is not there, what do we do? He was already putting structures.
Futuristic.
He was already putting the structures in place. But those structures didn't go down well. Right. I want to quote Mike Tyson, the
boxer.
He said, it's not everybody that you fight who is your enemy. It's not everybody you fight is your enemy. And it is not everybody that you see that are helping you your friend.
Your friend.
Right.
The people around him, that's, for instance, exactly 50 years today, on a Friday, February 13, a barrel of gun was shot and closed a chapter in Nigeria history. Till today, something is still saying that at that time, we really, really missed it. If 50 years after, that legacy he left, that his posture, that whatever it is that he stood for then, didn't dim up till now, then there must be something we're already missing.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I have a follow-up to that, because with the circumstances, surrounding his assassination, shows that Nigerians are still the way they are. They don't want something good. And I want to relate it also to the late Yaradua, who also was, trying to and of course he lost his life naturally through health complications. What does this really say about Nigeria? Like, do Nigerians really want this country to be better?
Thank you. When we talk of Nigeria, there is that geographical entity called Nigeria. But the people in it, for every situation Nigeria finds itself, some people are feeding fat. And some people are groaning. Therefore, those who are feeding fat will not want to leave the jugular. They want to make sure that whether Nigeria is good, is better, whatever it is, I am lining my pocket. As long as I'm lining my pocket, I'm not going to let go. So if there is anybody coming now to introduce something that can make it better, they are ready to fight. Now, when you mentioned Yaradua too was willing.
He was willing, yeah.
Was willing. Going by his antecedent when he was the governor. So we could say that to some extent, yes, we could see some ray of hope. But what happened? When the first stanza of Brigadier Muhammad Buhari and Idi and Idiya, when they came into power the first time, what was it that they were introducing? It was the same element that Muhammad was introducing, which is discipline. What is lacking today is discipline. Leadership can never succeed when there is absolutely no discipline. He disciplined himself. He was in control of the army then. But some people felt, no, we will not take this. We will not take this, because it was ready. It was already taking Nigeria to a limelight. To the highest point at which everybody must know that Nigeria belongs to this particular position, and everybody should appreciate it that way, across Africa and even internationally. But then, some people felt the way you are exposing it. Let me give an example. One of the governors in Ogun State, I would not want to mention the name of the governor. He was trying to expand Abeokuta, and one of the Abeokuta guys said, "Look, who sent him? Who sent him to do all these things? Who did this? Who did this?" When my wife was putting her school together and then we did a lot of things outside there, some people came, "Who asked you to do all this?" Making the frontal part of the school to be okay, so that it can be welcoming. I said, "Who sent you?" That's as long as we have that pocket of people, you definitely know that it's going to be a very big wall for you to sail through when you want to introduce something better, especially what they are not used to, because they are used to a certain level and they don't want any change. And what is constant in life is change.
Okay, beyond the military uniform now, because we have Gen Zs who do not really know this man, who was General Murtala Muhammed beyond the military uniform?
Well, at the age of 36, he became the head of state of Nigeria through another coup. All right. But it was a family man. He was very, very loving. People pretended to love him, because if they truly love him, especially in his platform, if they truly love him, they wouldn't have done something like that. He spent only 263 days
in government.
And then they booted him out. And in putting him out, they looked at a lot of things that they can do, that if they don't go bloody, they cannot get him out. Now, having said that, he was already building the civil service. That was when he brought in this Professor Bolaji Akiyemi.
Yeah.
He brought Professor. He was the one that introduced Professor Bolaji Akiyemi for the first time to be in the Internal Affairs Ministry, so that he was already bringing people. That is the structure I was talking about. He was already putting structures in place. He was not willing to continue for long at that time, based on what we read about him. He was already not willing, but he was like, let me put structure in place and hand over to people who can drive that. And that was where his daughter Aisha
right.
Oyebode said, I am not, the only time I got emotional about my father was when they called me last year to come and get an award in Angola. If at that time, that is, if it is last year, then that means 49 years after. So if in Africa, African countries too, they still recognize him, they still know that he was there, and they like 50 years down the lane, that means we are not celebrating him the way we're supposed to.
Right.
He was a very family man and very, very gentle.
I like the angle which you've come in now, talking about the fact that even other African nations knew about this man and knew about his impact. And we've already established the fact that his administration was quite a short one, but quite impactful. So from what we've learned about this man, his lifestyle, his personality, for you, what were some of those core values that defined his brief but impactful governance?
The first one is he had economic blueprints that most of the heads of state then didn't quite have, and they were willing to take a cue from there.
Okay.
But those at the same field with him, they felt that if he continues this way, if he gets the support that he is looking for, he might not give them the chance to be where they want to be.
Okay.
You know, let me leave that. Now, again, leadership is another thing that he introduced. He introduced leadership in such a way that both within and outside, international outlook, and all former, whatever level you talk about, the leadership style he introduced was one of such things that that endeared him to people. Then the last one is discipline. He never joked with that. Everybody knew Murtala Muhammed, all the soldiers. It was a case of, you fear him, you know that you are safe. You don't fear him, you are gone. He is he was a disciplinarian, and therefore those are the things that actually worked for him, and he never let down his own guard at any point in time.
Okay.
He never. So if you, because you can say that you introduce discipline, you want to discipline your staff, and you are not showing the examples of discipline. Then, but in his own case, it's an embodiment of discipline, embodiment of hard work, and embodiment of whatever it is that you can say a gentleman should be.
Okay, sorry, before you let me just quickly ride on that. I'm so sorry, Joy. Coming from the angle where he said he was a man who saw the future and he was a disciplined man, if you juxtapose that with the fact that he created 7 new states when Nigeria had 12 states, was that really part of financial discipline, or at that particular point in time, was it needed that those states needed to come on board?
Creating states then was like more of spreading, finding opportunity to spread the resources. Okay, and then again making sure that when you have smaller segments, it will be easier for you to rule and then control than when you have big and you are carrying too much burden. And then again, looking at it ethnically, you need to just like make sure that you group like terms, like people, those who cannot come together. If it did that, looking at it that, okay, from this number, let me create additional 7 states, and those 7 states were viable. It's not the states that we're creating now that we didn't even know how to sustain anything there. So he had the resources, he had everything, so he could justify the reason why those states were created.
Yeah, when you were talking about his leadership style and personality, so looking at then and now, when we look at the class of leaders that we have today, do you think, in your opinion, that they can realistically replicate the personality of the late General Murtala Muhammed?
They can. But two things that we are missing about him right now is that, as at the time, if it was to be that he was given the opportunity that, look, you must resign in 1 year time, maybe he should have been able to document all his blueprints, all his ideas, whatever thing that he had in mind. He will have been able to document. We will say that. Then the second thing is that you cannot take discipline away from somebody who is really, really disciplined by himself. Then the third one is, I've not seen any of the leaders right now, sorry to say that, who can be bold. The boldness that the guy had was actually one of his kind. He was bold. He was courageous. He was ready to face. He was ready to bite the bullet. He was ready for, and he didn't give anybody any chance to say that maybe he was just like this. No, he will give it to you straight, and you will know that this is me, and this is what I want. This is where we are going, and that is the way it should be. So as long as that, maybe because of the platform he was operating from, maybe in uniform, like in this case of this guy now, Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. You know, he's like, he's getting down. He will get into so many places. He will confront whoever he wants to confront. He will do this. He will tell you he will say it straight to your eye. That is another person that can still, but other civilian leaders, you know, it has to do with politics. It has to do with the election. It has to do with people. So you cannot bruise people and come back to say that they should still favor you for election. So they really have to find a way of balancing it. There is no way it's going to be like him.
Talking about
the military.
Talking about election and all the good things he has done, was there at any point he was or he laid a foundation for democracy, for transitioning into democracy?
Well, he came in at a time when military was the order of the day in Nigeria.
Okay.
Then secondly, he came in just like 200 days. Even if he had that mind that I'm going to lay structures towards transitioning and whatever, democracy. It might be there. It might be part of his agenda. But because he was cut short abruptly, nobody will know. But one thing is, we can begin to put it together if we can now begin to bring a civilian to head internal affairs and external affairs. I think it's external. It's even external affairs. External affairs. So if you can bring that, that is to give the impression that he's already creating and making structures in place to say that with time. The only time we can say that if he has spent about 1 year and nothing like that is happening, we cannot begin to say that maybe it's not ready yet. But within that period of 200 days, I mean, just 7 months, 200 and something days, and then he's been doing this, he's been doing that, we wouldn't know the next step he wanted to take. So that's in
line with Adebimpe's question, which you've just answered now. I'd like to follow up by saying that from the little time he spent and the things that he did and that were documented, at that time, would you also say that from his mindset, his impact, were they personality driven or were they institutionally driven? Was it about the fact that I want to deliver a legacy to Nigeria, irrespective of my personality, or was it that, okay, this is my time to trend at that particular point in time?
It was not personal.
It was not.
It was not. Everything he was doing, he was giving it national outlook. And it was like giving it a kind of Nigeria first. Let me push Nigeria to a level where it's going to be recognized. Let me push Nigeria to where it's going to be that, yes, at any point in time, it's going to be one of the superpowers. Then we had the resources. How he wanted to deploy those resources to achieve that, we may not be able to sit down here and analyze, simply because there were no, except of course, sketchy information here and there. But because of the way he was moving then, because every of his policy, he has national outlook. he was not looking at himself as a civil, as a soldier, or using this as a, okay, this is to the north or this is to the south. No, he was doing everything, making sure that national outlook is what Nigeria is going to get.
All right, you just talked about Angola reaching out to his daughter for an award. Now, for us here in Nigeria, do you think that Nigeria has really honored him beyond naming institutions after him? We have the MM1 airport.
MM1, yeah. Murtala Muhammed. Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. That question, I think, that question can be addressed in two ways. If I remove the impact of his daughter, Oyebode, Dr. Aisha Oyebode, because of what she is doing, because this is my father, I am not sure we'll be having that kind of celebration we are having about him now. Maybe it will have gone down a little. It's like he is gone. After all, Yaradua today, hardly can we remember him.
We hardly talk about him.
So, but because the lady is there, and he now immediately created a foundation for him.
In memory of the father.
So we can say that she is the one, because she said she had to come back from Angola, come and look at what they're doing for the preparation of celebrating his father. I mean, her father for the 50th birthday.
Anniversary.
I don't want to say birthday. I don't want to say
You don't want to say that.
Honestly, you see, when you are used to people like that, it's difficult for you to say they are gone. Their spirit is always all around. That is why people remember. That is why even those who were not born then, they say Murtala Muhammed, they will just want to find a way of looking at him. Then when he
one
comes,
on the 20 naira note, right?
Yes. That is without his cap. But if we have the one, but if we have the one is a military outfit where he had that regalia, the normal ceremonial this thing, you will know that he was a comely person, very, very comely.
Right, let's also, because you've mentioned Aisha here, and like you said, she's probably the one keeping most of the memory alive and still pushing what her father represented.
Yes.
But when her father died, she was 12.
Yes, sure.
And so for her to, till today, continue to relish in the memory of what her father did. And, you know, in an interview, she said her father treated corruption as an emergency, not a talking point. So let's go back to 50 years ago, corruption was a problem.
What it was
till date,
it was hydra-headed
until
monster.
Until date, it is still a huge problem. Let's flip back, and perhaps if he had succeeded in clipping the wings of corruption as highly as it was placed then in Nigeria, what would have been different today?
What would have been different today would have been that, number one, first, Nigerians will see ourselves as Nigerians first, before we now begin to trace our origin to wherever it is. Because what the guy was preaching actually was that, look at Nigeria. We are all one in Nigeria. And there's, again, ethnic violence may not be this rampant where when you have boundary, my boundary is this, your own boundary is this, in the same state, we still fight over land dispute here and there. So all these things, maybe he would have been able to.
I'm glad you used maybe, because after him we had Muhammad Buhari and Ide Agbon, and we had Obasanjo.
Now, those ones, what they were addressing, they were trying to address corruption. But they came first, that before we can begin to address corruption, let us first instill discipline on people. And that is why they came up with why? War against indiscipline. That was when they introduced Q, introduced this, you want to, because then it was a lawlessness at its highest level.
Right.
So when all these things were there, we would not be able to put it together. But one thing I noticed, if he had succeeded, maybe beyond about 1 more year he has succeeded, there will have been a difference. There will have been a difference. It's not going to be as we have now, because the character that took over after him just felt that, look, hey, I am here to just put things in place. I don't want to disturb myself. Let me hand over.
Let me mark my time.
Let me mark my time and hand over.
Yeah.
So then we are looking at it that if the man after him handed over, he might have been that he was coming from the angle that Murtala Muhammed might have prepared the structure, might have prepared the ground, might have discussed it before all these things happen. I'm just thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, earlier on you mentioned the civil service,
Yes.
how the reforms he was taking by bringing in
Yes.
Professor Bolaji Akinyemi.
Yes, yes.
Some critics have said it wasn't necessary, that it was too excessive. I'd like you to talk more on that.
Well, everything in life is perception. The way, as you are talking to me now, I need to just first create an impression about you to know whether I'm going to take you seriously or I'm going to indict every word you say, just to indict you. Because if you tell me, today is Valentine's Day, let us celebrate, I might just accommodate you to the extent that maybe he doesn't know what she's doing. You understand?
Yeah.
How can you tell me? We're saying that today is the last working day. Why can't we celebrate now? Because we know that weekend nobody will be there. If I rationalize that way, I will be thinking of you that you are right in a way.
Okay.
So if anybody is coming, and again, definitely you don't expect everybody to accept him.
Sure.
Accept his structure, accept what he stood for, accept what postulations he's putting together. Every statement, you see, people like that, all their statements are always going to come under scrutiny. Is he in line with his posture, or does he have an inherent ulterior motive? You understand? So everybody will say that, but nobody had waited enough to see the result of what he wanted to do.
Right. Okay. Still going back to Aisha, because we'll continue to defer to her, because again that was her father. So she also said that his administration was one that was governed with clarity, urgency, and a deep sense of public duty, saying that today's leaders must be accountable. So let's look at those three things that she mentioned, which also I think you alluded to the fact that he had a clear cut of what he wanted to leave to Nigeria. So when we look at clarity, we look at urgency and deep sense of public duty. And looking at those three words, powerful words indeed, how can our leaders today, if they do not take the three, maybe can they run with one? And using Aisha's words, being more accountable, what again can our leaders take from that lifestyle 50 years ago? Look at where, how those things can be replicated, maybe not like he really wanted them, but looking at what we need today and where Nigeria is and what our priorities are. What are some of those things that we can take away from the life and times of this man we're remembering today?
Thank you very much. First, Aisha says something. She said, if you look further that thing that you are reading, she said, our leaders must rediscover all these things. If we need to take anything from anybody, first, you have to align yourself. You have to understand the meaning of those words you want to run with. If you don't know the meaning of what you want to run with, you just run in this direction, then the world will be going this direction. First and foremost, if what he did then is what our leaders needed to have done, or they are supposed to be doing now, we need to go back to that place, that point. Let us see some of these things, especially we need to call Aisha. You know why I will say we should call Aisha? Aisha is talking about a lot of things about her father, such that I believe she has some blueprints. She might have had a lot of things that she doesn't want to. Who am I going to give this to?
Right.
My father wrote this, she did this, blah, blah, because there is no way people like that will not have a writing jotting somewhere.
Right.
So if he did that, so we can now look at it that, okay, please, give unto us some of these things. Let us see how we can, even if you are not going to take it 100%, let us see how we can garnish it to some things. Let's see what we are now. Let's see. She said, our leaders need to rediscover ourselves. To rediscover. The first thing is, the first ingredient of any rediscovery is discipline. We really have to. We really have to stand on the tripod of discipline before we cannot begin to shoot to say this is what we want to do. This is how we're going to do it. Otherwise, whatever it is that we take and we want to run with, there is no law that says we cannot take the three. If we put the right people in the right position and we are not looking at faces. See, your face is good. You are going to be the finance minister. Madam, you are going to be the madam, you are going to be in the women affair. But do I have anything to show me that if I put you there, you will be able to? Or I just believe that let people be there, let me just do whatever I want to do. It is a point at which we really have to go back and take stock. 50 years after, if somebody's legacy is still there and we're still celebrating and we are not regretting celebrating him, then definitely that legacy is something we need to look at again.
Right. You know,
So 50 years. Okay, go
okay,
on.
follow up to this question, because she got it out of my mouth. I was going to ask you what lessons our leaders can learn from which she had already asked. But now, 50 years after, what does Murtala Muhammed represent? Is it hope, discipline, or unfinished business?
All three. All three.
All the three.
All the three.
Because in 1980, another hope was almost coming up in June.
Hope 93.
Hope 93. Right?
Yeah.
So it was another hope. And then another one is, let us help hope in 2010. That one failed. Hope in 2020. That one failed. So the hope we are still looking for now is 2030. So I don't want to say hope because we have used that word and it has no meaning again. But when we talk of unfinished project, unfinished assignment, unfinished dispensation, we really have to put a lot of things in place. Let us see how we can begin. But one thing is this: our leaders, even when a party is, when a governor is ending and another governor is coming in on the same party, there is no continuity. So if that is the case, then we are not be talking of 50 years back that somebody will have to go back. They don't have any time for all those ones. Let me just do whatever I want to do. But the beginning of all when we need to do is to go back and retrace our steps and rediscover all those little things we can do. They are little things, but they are very great.
Okay, meaning that at least if you don't know where you're going, you should know where you're coming back.
You're coming back where you are able to trace yourself back and then look at it. There might be a compass that will guide you. No, this is where you are going. I have missed this step before. Let me be mindful of the minds. Do mind any mind that might be on the way.
So also 50 years after, we're still far away from the vision of late Murtala Muhammed.
Yes.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, definitely.
We're still far away.
We're still far away.
We're not close.
We are not.
Okay.
All right, maybe we would have to just leave it there this morning. It means that 50 years after the death of this man, his legacy still challenges Nigeria's leadership culture, like Mr. Samuel Mare has said this morning. It's quite scary, though, that from his submission, we're still far away from home. But again, hope keeps everything alive, and I'm sure that we'll get there someday, sometime, hoping it will be in our generation. I don't know if it will be.
Which generation? Our generation.
maybe
I hope so.
3 generations to come.
I hope so.
But we'll be positive.
We just have to be positive and just continue to pray. Everywhere we are, let us just pray. And a word of prayer.
Prayer without works.
Well, maybe that, when you say...
I just had to chip that in because again we continue to say God. Will He come down to help us?
It's unfortunate that we have embraced something in Nigeria, and that thing is what you, me, everybody is supposed to do. We are leaving it to God. Okay. So when they say God will do it,
that's like I said. So God will help those that will help themselves. So we have to do the work, and then God will crown it.
To do.
Okay.
God has done His own.
God has done His part.
It is well.
It is well.
Where we started.
That was where we started.
Thank you so much, Samuel Mare, for finding time to be with us on the program this morning. We appreciate your thoughts this morning. That's where we'll leave this conversation this morning. Many thanks for watching. We'll take a quick break. When we return, another conversation we will be having. Our guest is already around, and I can assure you she's also a very good jolly fellow, and we'll definitely have a good conversation with her after the short break.